Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this session. We are going to be showing you the latest version, or highlight some of the latest features of the new Archibus 22.2 V2. That's version 2022, subsection 2. With a little introduction, we'll do kind of a synopsis of us, then what's new in Archibus, kind of highlight what was released in the current version out. Then I'll pass it on to Fulton to kind of highlight some of the things that might be of interest. Then we will switch it over to Jeff and talk about how our FM team can help you. Fulton Hartzog, he is our senior technical consultant, and you'll be hearing from him in a little bit. He has a vast experience working with Archibus system, 25 plus years. With the Archibus system. And I'm at the bottom here, Rob, for another account manager. Next screen, please. So what we're going to be, Archibus, since the change of ownership in the last few years, they used to be not so consistent in their updates. They used to have, if those Archibus veterans used to have a major release in the springtime at the Archibus conference pre-COVID, then would have one or two, possibly three sub-releases throughout the calendar year, but it was kind of erratic, never really on a set time. New management has decided to make this more predictable as far as quarterly updates. They are, especially with this version, they're really, version 2022, really sticking with that quarterly update timetable. We just received as business partner the beta version of the next version, 0.3, for us to take a look at. Also, Archibus has changed, or is changing, their licensing structure from enterprise or quote owned licensing, which the vast majority of legacy Archibus users have, to term or SaaS solutions, which is available to new users of the Archibus system, or new customers of Archibus. The old enterprise version is no longer available, which is the purchase buy. So term is basically a rental for 3 years, and SaaS is, like it says, software as a solution model, where everything is provided, including the infrastructure for the software. You just go up to the cloud and use it. As I said, new enhancement released every quarter, and they're sticking to that timetable really well, which is great. And some of the new thing that Archibus has released, I think in 25.1, I think that'll come up on the screen, is called UserVoice. For the users that were part of the old regime or the old owner of Archibus, a lot of the, hey, from a user's perspective, this is what we'd like to see, happened at the users conference, where people would voice, hey, we'd like to have this feature in Archibus. Now Archibus has created a very nice portal called UserVoice, where people can log in and put in some ideas or requests of some features that they would like to see in the Archibus system. And Jeff is going to go over that in more detail at the end of this presentation. Next slide, please. So what's new in 2022.2? Just as a refresher, Archibus has changed how they're going to do version naming. It used to be, the last one was 26. If you remember, it used to be 13. They would just go up by 1 and have the points for the in-version updates. Now they're going to, seems like going to by calendar year. So Web Central, and some of the highlights here in the 0.2 update. The bin viewer was enhanced, maintenance console, some user interface enhancements, some changes in the space console, the Web Central part, some audit logs, some things underneath the hood, which we will not go into in this presentation. And also on the workplace side, that's on the Web Central side, a new dashboard, UX improvements, accessibility, compliance, some urgent fixes that were needed in that realm. The smart client, there's some some updates to that, line types and line width publishing, and some housekeeping stuff, which is again underneath the hood of the Archibus system. What's also interesting that that may be of interest is that Archibus has become closer with Autodesk in collaboration. There's going to be some interfaces out of the box, including interface with Forge, if you're familiar with some Autodesk products. And I think going forward, there's going to be a more robust integrations with Autodesk, working with them directly. I think Autodesk has a vast interest in the Archibus system going forward with its improvements, and I think that's going to be a good thing with these integrations from design tools into the FM world or the IWMS world. I think that's it as far as a broad highlight, and then we're going to switch it over to Fulton, and he's going to kind of go into the details a little bit at a high level. Fulton?
Okay.
Can you make Fulton the presenter? Gladys.
I'm waiting to see it pop on my screen. There it comes. Do you see my screen now? I don't have a.
Yes, we can.
Okay, very good. So Archibus has once again improved its navigation to make it a little more user-friendly. And so we see here in the home page, the home pages, if you've used those before, are no longer the main way of navigation, although they still can be used in that manner. But we're back to a process navigator like we see here on the left. And then you have the various domains and then applications within those domains, and then the views to select. They've also put the favorites right up front where you can select favorites. So the views I'm going to show today are put all in my favorites so that they are quickly accessible. Also, the search now is very, very good. So if you begin to type something like, I'm going to put in location. I need to spell correctly. This is a fuzzy search. So you're seeing anywhere that word location appears, you're going to see views that are available. So if you go to define locations, then you get a list of the sites, buildings, floors, and rooms, and you can edit from this view in all those different places. One of the new features is your ability to add fields to a particular table. So you can do that by using the system button and going to the add-in process to do that. But also in some cases, as an example in rooms, you can add fields here. So you can just, by grabbing a room, you can hit configure fields. It's going to allow you to promote fields and make those available to you in other places. And I'll show you some of that here in a minute. So you have the ability, in that case, to configure a field. In other places, you can add the field directly in the table, as an example in assets. So so once you've added fields and made them available, they're showing down here in this list, and so you can see things that normally are not shown quickly or available to you. So I'm going to come to favorites, and I'm going to just kind of walk down through a variety of views that are, I think, significant views going forward for many people. So I'm going to start with the global portfolio dashboard. And this view's been around for a while, but it is a view that gives you a total picture of your assets. So you have some text information here, number of buildings, total square footage, how much of that is leased, FCI ratings, commitments in terms of dollars and cents, and occupancy. And then you can also add other things. So one of the things about Archibus views is they're in these demo sets are meant to be things to give you examples of what can be done, so that you can then choose what you want to show in your particular situation. So another part of this is a chart for operating costs. Again, these are, you can go to details, which has been a feature of Archibus for a long time, and export to Excel. What's shown in that detail box is something that can be configured to your particular needs. And you can also filter, and it filters the entire set of views that are here. So this whole dashboard, when we click into a particular site and or region and country, then we hit the filter button, you see everything responds, and you see exactly what's in that particular restriction. So you have some pretty nice quick reporting that you can do. Also, these colors here, in this case, it's based on building use. So when you see a color in this situation, it's telling you something to begin, and then you can click on it and go in and see other details about that particular building and go deeper if you need to. So this particular one is set up to be focused on leases, and so you can see information there. But again, this is configurable. So you're seeing, we haven't seen floor plans yet, but you're seeing a lot of the different features that Archibus provides that you can take advantage of. So the next area that I want to, since we talked a little bit about lease, is to go into leases themselves, and they've done some enhancements on the portfolio console. So now this particular part of the view is similar to what they've had before, but when you click in to a particular lease, then you see the information presented in a way that could be printed out into a report, but you also have the ability to do all of the data that you need to do. And now, instead of it being arranged down the page, it's arranged in a tabular form so that you can click on each tab and do what you need to, and everything's kind of right in front of you all the time. So all the documents you need, everything about a lease, you can quickly see. The next thing I want to hit on is some planning information. So we have a space and portfolio planning console. And this gives you the ability to do some big picture planning at this level. There's also a similar thing in space management, and it's more focused on a building by building, but very much the same idea here. So when we click into a particular project or a scenario that we want to try out, we have the ability to see a list of space that we want to include in this scenario. We can also display that space down below. And down here, we're seeing the various buildings that are involved in this. We have the floors. We have the occupants of that by their organization. And then you have some space down here that's unallocated. If you want to move space around, you can do that. Now up here, we've also got events that have happened through the years. So you can look into those events and see how the changes happened, what changes happened during those events, and then be able to see percentages of the space and those kind of things. So this is an interactive situation. It is, again, a scenario. You're not affecting your real data, and you can have any number of these scenarios for the exact same set of buildings, depending on what you want to be able to do. So part of that is being able to drag and drop. And so if we grab this one and we're going to put him down here, it's going to ask us for the name of the event. And so we'll just call it today. And then it gives it a time when the move happens, so you can change that. And we'll go with today there too. And we confirm it. Now we have an event that happened here in our current time frame. And now we also have moved that, the information into that time, into that space. So this is date sensitive as well. So you can as you go through time, you can see how things changed by looking at these items. And then another part of this is that analysis that you can get between. So if we want to compare two scenarios, and I'm going to compare these first two. Come on. I may be impatient. So when we filter, then we're going to have how things were in option 2, and then in option 2 expanded. Then we're going to have a second graph here that's going to show how that is different. So you can again get a quick look between two different scenarios, or many more scenarios, how that affected what you were doing. So again, these colors are significant. You see that it's interactive. We have allocated area in the blue, we have capacity in the green, and we have allocation rates in the yellow. As you move down the line, you see that it gives you information, and if you click, let's see, oh, that one's not going to give us any additional thing to click. So you have some ability to compare your scenarios. And then going kind of back to our global portfolio dashboard, you also have this financial analysis console. And this gives you a big picture of your total cost of ownership. Now you don't have to have all that information in Archibus. In other words, Archibus doesn't need to be producing that information, but you can gather that information from other sources and bring it all together into this type of view. So this not only affects this view, but it also gives you that information in the global dashboard that we saw, where we had costs involved in it. So you can bring that data in and be able to utilize it from here. I'm going to switch gears a little bit. We're going to go to capital projects and look at the maintenance console. I'm sorry, not the maintenance console. The management console. So this is a little bit different because we used to have to be careful about, as we were doing project management, to be in the right place to be able to do that work. Now it's kind of been brought together so that all of the different statuses are here, and you can work from this one place and see all of your projects, and also be able to work with them in the context that they're in, basically by status. So as you click into a particular project, you'll see information about that project. If there are alerts, they will show up. You can have team, you can see keep logs, save documents. I picked a bad project. Well, so then you can also see your Gantt chart based on what you've been doing in that project. Let me give it one more shot here. There we go. So we have work packages. We've got some alerts of things that are behind schedule. If we go to the Gantt chart, you see that we have predecessors involved, and this works very much on the model of Microsoft Project. So you're able to see that information all together. You can also have views where you see all the projects in the same Gantt chart. So that can be very useful. So as we move on down to space, there are a couple of areas that have been enhanced. First of all, the Space Console is got some new features, some that make things a little quicker to be able to work with. You have a quick search. So if we search for a building, so Bosmed, and I can then pick floor number 2, and this kind of quickens up the ability to get to a particular floor plan. This is pretty much when you're looking for one floor plan at a time. You can also go to the advanced search and be able to find a particular building or a number of other things. And one of the enhancements is days in the office. So you can mark employees as being in the office on particular days. And then when they're added to have a room, they're assigned to a room, then you can also configure this view so that you're having only seeing the days that they're in the office. And that if, let's say that they were Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and somebody else was Tuesday, Thursday, then the occupancy would change based on how you configured your search here. You can also save these searches. So once you've got one you really use a lot or like, then you can save it here. Once you've saved it, you can quickly grab it from this little box here, and you're able to, you'll have a list of them as time goes on. Another thing Archibus is doing is giving you more options here. So you have, remember those 2 fields that were added. So we have highlight options by use or by whether that room is reservable. And then once you click that, then you can click here and you see that in this case, we don't have many that are reservable. Whoops. Well, so we have this one down here that's reservable, and can kind of go here and look at that as well. You see down here, it's that's added in as a field that's available for us to change. So that's a couple of the things that are better in the newer version. And then they're working on making the labeling better and also the printing better. Another aspect of space has become moves. And so now in the move area, there is a move console. And this again is part of the space domain. And now you have a list of all your moves together. As you look at those moves, you see the kind of move it is, if it's a group or an individual. We have had before the ability to do scenarios for these rooms, and you have the ability to add employees to that scenario and then look at the scenarios and any number of ways you want to apply this so that people can be located in an area. You can go with available layouts and see a floor and add it to this scenario, and then when you click on it, then you see that floor. So we're going to talk a little bit about user voice ideas. A couple of ideas that are out there right now that are being considered by Archibus. One is to have a blank floor plan. So you see right now when you come in, you see the current list of people associated with this particular floor plan. But one of the requests for for a change that have been voiced by users is to start out with a blank so that you're not having to move people around right off the bat. And you'll once you get into UserVoice, you'll find many of those kinds of things. Another thing that was implemented in this version is the ability to include hatch patterns in your SVGs. So when we here go to add in layering, many of our clients have something like a life safety layer, and that layer, the thickness of that line is important. And so that is an enhancement that has been implemented again from a user request. So another thing from here that you can do is you can switch. I'm sorry, I'm back. Let me go back to the console. I didn't mention this, and now I meant to. So back in that same floor that we were in, and this floor is, the reason I'm using this floor is because it was a part of the model. So when you click here, it'll quickly move you to 3D. This viewer is new. It presents very similar to what was done previously, but there's a new BIM viewer for Archibus here, and then you can highlight this view. If you highlight by department, and you can see it in a 3D setting. If you want to add some features, you can see the doors and the floors, and you can also add other floors. So I'm going to add in first floor. Well, I'm only going to get one at a time here, but you see some of that 3D type feature here where you can see what's going on between floors. So this kind of leads us to assets. So in assets, there's been a tremendous expansion of what you can do with assets and how many assets you can cover in this particular setting. And there are 4 different types of assets that Archibus is focused on in this particular application right now: buildings, equipment, property, and furniture. You can focus on one of them by simply picking an asset type and then hitting filter. And then you're only looking at buildings. You can edit buildings from here. You can do a number of different activities that you have done in other places before. But here you can come and you can manage all the assets at once. If you're looking at equipment, and I'm going to focus in on a particular building. Then you can locate that equipment on a map. You can see activities that go with that particular piece of equipment. So if we click into it, we can see that there have been 12 work requests, that their statuses are issued. And so you also have recently closed activities. So this is work that's in the history table, but there's a time frame associated with it. And then finally you have things that have been completely closed and are outside that time frame. So you can see a complete picture of what's going on with a particular asset. And you can click into that asset, see pictures of it, information about it, and even print this document if you choose. You can edit from here, and here this gives you kind of the full picture of it. Again, you have configure fields in this context so that you can see the fields that are available. And I'm going to show you in a minute how you can create those fields. And then at the end, you have a list of the other fields that are available. So the rest of these things are the kind of information that you've been doing with, or that Archibus has been doing with assets for a long time. Now in the maintenance console, again, we have some configurations that are make things a little bit different. When you're used to doing it one way, this may be feel a little bit different for sure. But as you click on something, then what you can do with it, which used to be in the body down here, pops up at the top. So you see here we could estimate or schedule labor or assign it. All those things are happening, and you can do more than one at a time, which you've been able to do before. So I'm going to cancel selection, and then you can also do filters from here. So now you have your set of filters on the right, and I'm going to go with filtering by PM here, and I'm going to go with the date range. So we see a requested from today, and then I apply it, and it shows me the work that's been created today. Now, one of the other enhancements that Archibus has brought out is a checklist. So in this particular case, there's a safety component of this. And as we go to the checklist, we can see that checklist appears, and we can go through, send them through a process. In the PM, that's set up as a part of the steps. And in the on-demand, it's set up as part of the SLAs. So you can have checklists that are specific to the particular need you have. You also see some colors here that have come into play. So instead of just having an overdue color like we've had before, you'll see different colors that are based on status and time. And you configure the questionnaires as well. Now, another newer feature here is the ability to do reports. So there's now a maintenance report builder. And this gives you 3 different ways to configure things. So you can go by building or craftsperson, problem type, work team. So if we go with craftsperson, and these are optional in the middle, so you can do it by work team or problem type or that kind of thing. But for now, we'll just start with how many. So we'll go with the count. We could also do total cost or labor hours. Then you hit show. So you get a chart here right off the bat. And they're also introducing some new words here. So raised is the number, the count of for this wheel technician in the calendar year 2022. You can also save this report so that you can get it back and it'll appear in this button up here. You can do it as a bar chart. I'm sorry, as a report in this fashion. You can also do it as a bar chart like we did before. You can do it as a pie chart. And you note that as we do this, they are continuing to be available to us here across the top. And if we want to change and do something different, then we can do that as well. And so we didn't lose anything we've done already. And as long as we're in this session, it'll remember these and keep them available for you. So you can come back and save it at another time if you decide you want to keep that. So you have a broad range of things that you can work on from this perspective. Now, in terms of the things that have become pretty significant in these last days, have been reservations and hoteling. We have a lot of people that are trying to work through how they're going to do these kind of things. We've got some folks in pilots and some folks that are already using it. But there is a new front end for this. It's called Workplace. And the Workplace gives you the ability to find people or to make a booking for a workspace or to book a meeting place like a conference room or a focus room or other kinds of meeting areas. And then also you can request services which don't become actual work orders. They are kind of a to-do list that you can assign to somebody and then they will go do it. And then over here on the right, as my user, I have any meetings that were scheduled for me are here. And also I've got any work orders that I've created. So here you can go in and see people. Trying to find the bottom down here. So we have I missed the search box. So it's a little bit up here at the top is the search box. If I'm looking for a particular person, it's a fuzzy search, so I can find anybody that has the name Smith, and I can pick that person. It's going to take me to their floor and point out where they are on that floor. So you can see that. So back home, we can also book workplaces. So here we can pick a building that we want to be in. Again, you can search for that. So we're just going to pick it's going to come in with the first floor, but if we go, let's go up here to this 18th floor, and you see you have rooms available. In this case, there's 2 spaces available in this particular room, and also in this one. So you can click and book, and you can book for yourself or you can book for somebody else. But I'm going to book for myself. And I can also do time frames, either morning or afternoon. Obviously, it's too late for morning for today, but if I change to tomorrow, Well, so if I book it for the afternoon, then I'm successful. And now you see that I've got a booking up here in my list. Same thing with reservable rooms, meeting rooms. And again, you click, you book. You can add amenities that are available for that room. And this could be a lot of different things. And then you can also do a recurrence pattern, but let's say that we're going to meet today at 2. And then next, give it a name. Decide how many people, and you see as I click here, it gives me the slots, and I can go in and add people for that meeting. And it will send an email to those people that I've designated, but if I don't know everybody's going to come, I know there'll be more than 2, then I can just leave it like that and go on. And this works with mobile as well. So you can quickly book spaces for either place to work or a place to meet. And then finally, you have services, which could be a general maintenance request, a move request, a heating and cooling issue, other things you might need. So you can do a lot of those kinds of activities, and it's a little more user-friendly than the still existing more detailed look at it that you get in the Web Central views. So some other reporting that's now available includes just general reporting. So we have a thing, well, let me start with add field. If you want to add a field, you can just come in, decide what table that's going to go into. So I'm going to go with the room table. Give the field a name. And let's just call it number of guests. So it's going to be a number field. And we don't need decimals. If we want a heading. Whoops. That's a little too carried away. Sorry. If you want to make a comment about the field, it might be a convention for y'all to say who did it and what time frame. And then if you want to, you can determine the string format. If in this case we're in numbers, so we wouldn't have that, and also a numeric format. So right now we're just in the default. Then you hit save. And it looks like I didn't enter a valid name, and probably because that space is there. There we go. So now you have the ability to add fields to significant tables as a user. Of course, you'll want to be careful who you let that go to. So then you can also do reports. And this is a new version, as it were, of the view definition wizard. You can start with the table and gather up what you want, and then save that report here. So we'll just start again with the room table. So you have a basic set of information for that particular table, and let's get ourselves a little more room to work here. But you can go in and select fields, and let's see if number of guests. So there's our number of guests fields. So we can drop that in. And let's go with division and department. Oops. If you want to take them out, you just hit the X, and if you want to move them up and down, you have the controls there. So then you're done, and you can add a filter to it. You can make it a chart. We can save it, so we can give it a title. And you can choose whether other people will be able to see it or not. So we're going to hit save here. Now we've created a report, and we can export it out to Excel, and we have some other options. Publish it and make it available out there to others. So those are the some of the highlights. This is our demo site, so you're welcome to go and look at that demo site and see more of what's out there. The mobile device has a couple of new features. There is a new thing called On-Site, which has a little bit different look and feel. It's basically maintenance driven. There is also a 4.0 of the mobile app, and that is something that's been around for a while, but there's a new version of that that you can take advantage of. It is sensitive to the version of Web Central, so 4.0 begins to work, I believe, in 26. So you have just all the apps that are available for you to use. So a lot of surveys, doing maintenance from here, those checklists and those kind of things come through as well. All right. Well, I've taken my time. So Jeff.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Jeff.
Okay. So one of the things that Robin mentioned earlier, one of the things that Space IQ Archibus has implemented is this portal called UserVoice, and really puts power back in the hands of the end users. You guys are in the tool every day, working and using it. I'm sure you're running across things that, like, you can think of as like, wow, it would be great if I could do this. UserVoice is set up to do exactly that. So you guys, it gives you a chance to go through. You can make your own suggested enhancements. You can go through and view enhancements that other people have requested and say, you can vote on those and say, yeah, I'd like to do that. I could use that too. And the more people that kind of pile onto that, the Archibus seems to have been very responsive to that. When multiple people are interested in an item, they certainly kind of move that up the list of things to address. So you can create a request, you can view other requests, and then thirdly, you can kind of track your request through the process. So once you make it, you can say, okay, yeah, these guys are working on it, and it should be out in 2 releases maybe, or something like that. So there's some great tools to help you do that, and it makes the product better for you. It makes the product better for all other users as well. So I've got a slide here. I'll kind of walk you a little bit through how the UserVoice works, and we'll make these slides available to you so you can go through and do your registration for the UserVoice and all that kind of fun stuff after the webinar is over. But you go to the UserVoice website, sign in and create an account, or if you've already signed in, you can sign in there. And then once you do that, you can see the product forums, submit ideas, and vote on other enhancements that other people have submitted. Here's a link down here that you can use to do that login, and we'll make sure you get that. So here's kind of how it works. You kind of search to see if your idea exists. And if it's already there, you can vote for it and say, yeah, I want some of that too. Or you make comments about it. If you can, you can submit your own idea. If you can't find someone who's asking for the same thing already, you can submit your own ideas. The product management team, they get notified of that, and they'll kind of provide comments back to you as things progress. And then once the status changes, the product management team at Archibus, they'll let you know. And there we are. So that's it. So that means, I really encourage you guys to get plugged into the UserVoice and try to take advantage of that. It will get, many of the enhancements that Fulton talked about today, those came out of this portal. So encourage you to get signed up, get logged in, and submit your request for that, and we'll get it on the road. They'll get it on the roadmap to getting those things resolved. So that's kind of all I had regarding that. I appreciate all of you joining us today, and thank you so much. If you saw something that you're interested in, like to learn some more about, contact Rob or I, and we would definitely have to visit with you a little bit further, see what we can do to help out.